was in London. He had time to have a quick rave with Phil Collins from Genesis. At the end of the interview, you'll get to see some footage of Genesis mixing down in the studio. You'll have to excuse the quality of the sound there, but it's exactly as it went down in the studio. It's rather interesting, actually. Let's have a look at it now. Michael Gudinski with Phil Collins from Genesis.
When Peter Gabriel decided to leave, it must be about 2 years ago now, what was the initial reaction within the band?
Well, I mean, obviously, one tries to persuade the guy to stay because it's, you know, not sort of pleased, but that's the fact that we believed that at that point we were getting to the point where we could do anything we wanted to do. I was doing Brand X, you know, my own band, and anybody could have done what they wanted to. It could have been worked out. But quite rightly, I think, Peter decided that he wanted to have more control over his own songs. That everyone writes individually, you see, as well as collectively. So he has a whole backlog of songs, and he felt he wanted to be more in control and not compromise his ideas in the same way that Steve's just done. You know, he has exactly the same kind of feeling. So you leave. I mean, we're all three of us that are left. You know, we enjoy writing together, and we're quite prepared to make some of the compromises with our own music. You know, if I bring a piece in and Tony likes something about it and doesn't like something about it, we'll sort it out, as opposed to being totally a dictator, you know. Anyway, get back to the point. I mean, we try to work things out, but I mean, he wanted to leave, and so from that moment on, I mean, we still had 3 months of touring to do, you know, with this situation. So there was no bad vibes or anything. Everyone was quite happy. But from that moment on, we talked in groups. You know, the four of us got together every now and again to talk about what we were going to do, whether we were going to carry on or what. And we decided to leave it until we had the music. So we had this music in the rehearsal room, and we started playing it, and it really took off. And so, you know, we kind of decided that we were going to carry on anyway. Yeah. I mean, to my point of view, I knew the band, not with me as a singer, because at that point I had no idea, but just the band could sustain itself, you know, because the band was good enough. It was like 4/5 of the writing material left.
Yeah, well, from the point of view, it must have been quite frightening in the sense of the tour coming up, and that the band had really got to a point where, like you say, it could have done anything, and it must have been like, you know, where's Peter going to, in that sense that
yeah, I mean,
we had it all before us.
we didn't have anything like tours would have been immediately scotched, you know. I mean, just sort of, we always decide what we're going to do if we can make a record, because that's really the most important thing, you know, getting our music onto a record. Has always been prime importance. So as long as the music was there, I mean, we knew we could make a good album. I think that's what it came down to, you know. And Road was a different kind of problem altogether. But as soon as the album was behind us, it was then, you know, what should we do? And so we got Bill Bruford to play drums, and I started singing.
But before the decision was made for you to start singing, I believe there was audition after audition. Is that?
Yeah, it was kind of leisurely, though. It was quite a leisurely sort of panic. I mean, he left, and we started rehearsing as a four-piece. I was going to sing a few of the songs, the quieter songs, because I'd never sang any of the louder songs, because I was always playing the drums, right? So we put an advert in the Melody Maker, you know, Genesis stroke Yes type group want singer, right? And see what we came up with. And we did come up with a few well, a lot of replies, about 400 replies, with tapes and with records that people had made, or tapes of people singing along to our records, all kinds of things. And the office sifted them out, and we got about 30 on the short list.
Did anyone come close?
Not really. Yeah, it was quite depressing, because we'd be rehearsing for, you know, like 6 weeks or something, and every Monday we'd have 5 or 6 people down. And they'd come down, and they'd sing. I'd teach them some of the songs, and then they'd sing it, and we'd say, okay, we'll keep you in mind, you know. And there was one guy that got through all those auditions, sort of, and actually came into the studio with us to try Squonk, which was on Trick of the Tail. And it didn't work at all. And everyone was started, you know. And I was really there saying, well, just give me a chance, man, you know, give me a break. Because I didn't want to say, you know, like, I want to do it. I wanted to be asked, you know. And also, it would have been, I couldn't work out what would happen, you know. I was a drummer, really. So what was I going to do? I wanted to sing behind the drum kit. Anyway, we ended up having no singer with music. So I started singing track by track. Said, well, we'll try this one, see how it goes. And it started to sound good.
Who's playing drums on the new album?
On this one?
Yeah.
I am. Because I'm really the group drummer, you see. I mean, live is different, you know, because I can't sing and drum. Well, I can, but I don't like to. You know, it's like very bad visually to sit behind a drum kit in front of all those people and expect them to be interested, you know. So we get a drummer for touring, and I play as well. So there's two of us playing some of the time.
With the new album, you haven't got a title as yet, although I believe there was an interesting title contemplated there.
Yeah, we thought when Steve left that we'd call it, and then there were three, but or round three, after seconds out, you know. But no, we're very bad at titles. We never come up with titles until the last minute, you know, until it looks like the album's going to be put back, you know.
How far into this album are you?
Well, it's all finished. In fact, by the time this will be on television, I dare say it will all be completely wrapped up. I mean, we've just got to mix a few tracks now. It's all about.
Melody Maker recently voted Genesis the best live act and the best British band. I mean, this must be a great compliment to Genesis. Was it a surprise to you in view of the whole upheaval of the English music scene with the punk new wave situation?
Yeah, you see, well, it was very nice. Obviously, one always likes to win these things. I mean, live thing we've done for the last 4 years now. So the British band was a surprise because usually Yes win that, you know. But the thing is, I mean, obviously this poll is just based on the people that buy Melody Maker. Now, punks don't buy Melody Maker; they buy Sounds or they buy NME. So obviously, you're going to get much more of a musical reply from those voters than a punk reply, you know. So I mean, it's good the fact that we won it, but I mean, the Sex Pistols could never have won it. You know, the Clash could never have won it.
Then again, a high point of the band, and I think less than a month later, Steve Hackett decides to call it quits as well. How did that come about? Did he just, like Peter, walk in one day and say, "Bang, I'm leaving," or had this been sort of known about for a while and you just kept it under wraps? Or
well, we worked very hard this year, right? We were touring for about 6 months, and on the end of the tour in America, Steve, I wasn't there because I was in Vancouver, but the three of them, there was a bit of a flare-up because Steve wanted to do his own album, another one, right? And we had to decide whether we were going to do the next group album when, and the times kept conflicting. So, cut a long story short, we had lots and lots of meetings to discuss where, when we could do things, and Steve said, I'll leave if I can't do it. And we worked it out, and then we were mixing in here one day, the live album, which was about 3 weeks ago now. And he didn't come in one day, and he rang up and said, you know, I think it's best if I leave now, because I really would like to do my own album, you know. And it's just simplifying the story quite a lot, you know. I mean, there's lots of ums and ahs, and no one, after you've been with a band 7 years, no one comes in and says, hi, I'm off, you know. It's kind of a traumatic experience, in a way. But, I mean, we're always glad when people leave, you know, because it kicks us up the arse, you know. It makes us do things that we can't normally do, you know. Like Mike's now playing lead guitar as well as bass. That's not to say we won't get a guitarist, but I mean, for live anyway. But I mean, you know, the three of us have made this album, and it doesn't sound much different from another Genesis album, apart from the songs being a lot better, of course. Well, being 100% better than anything else we've ever done.